Well, Jesus Coin just passed another important test. Let's talk about it.
Because you asked for it.
This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. And today we're going to be talking about Jesus Coin. I'm going to give you an update. I'm going to tell you why Jesus Coin just passed a very important test. And whether you are in Jesus Coin or you're looking into Jesus Coin, I do encourage you to watch this video all the way through. And if you don't mind, could you support my channel by hitting that like button, maybe even hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Okay, so as always, let's start by taking a look at what Jesus Coin is doing at the moment. Now, as I'm recording this, it is Thursday, January 4th. So let's take a look at what it's doing right now. Okay, so this is the 24-hour chart on Jesus Coin, and at the moment, it is trading at 1949. Now remember, as always, I always move the decimal point over. Remember, there's a decimal point plus 6 zeros and then 1 9. So I'm just going to be using 19 as the number, right? So right now it's trading at 1949. Okay, Charlie, come back to me. Okay, so listen. I'm going to be giving you some technical analysis in here, but I'm going to keep it simple because it is important that I give you a sense of why I find certain levels important and why I'm reading certain things into the ongoing action in Jesus Coin. So let me start with a few basics. Now, when I was a trading instructor, I was always on a mission to simplify the information I was giving people as much as possible. When I first started teaching people, when I started out of the gate, the original class was 2 weeks long and it was brutal. I threw everything at the poor people. And then over the course of time, I refined it down to a 90-minute class. So the original manual was the size of a phone book. And for you young people, a phone book is a big book, okay? But by the end of my journey as an instructor, I got that down to about a 20-page manual. And now I can teach someone how to trade in about 90 minutes. Now, I don't try to teach people everything there is to know about trading, but I teach them enough to trade and be profitable. And the idea there is that too many people make trading more complicated than it needs to be. Quick second here, okay? When I use the term trading, all right, people think that trading is a matter of time frame. They think they have this image of people who are day traders and they're pounding their keyboard, at 90 miles an hour, and their hair is on fire, and they think that's what trading is. No, the difference between trading and investing is a difference in philosophy. Okay, for me, investing is a dirty word. Investors, they rely on hope. They rely on faith that eventually, it'll work out if they hold on long enough. That's not what trading is. Traders' mindset is they buy and sell whatever it is they're trading for a reason, and they have a plan. They stick to the plan. So it's an issue of philosophy. So I think everybody should be a trader, regardless of what time frame you're using. All right, so let me give you a quick little lesson about what I look for in the charts, because it is relevant. Because as I'm giving you, important levels to look for along the way, I want you to know what I'm looking at. I want you to be able to develop your own eye, with this stuff. So I want you, over the course of time, if you subscribe to my channel and you watch my videos diligently, I'm going to give you little nuggets of gold along the way that you can apply to your own trading. And, keep it simple. But every little bit of wisdom that you can throw on top of your trading activity is going to improve your chances. So let me start by showing you the few key things that I look for in charts. A little explanation here, okay? Okay, so this is your first lesson: A's, V's, and channels. Now remember, everything that I put in these little lessons, I put them, they're called edisms, okay? My students call them edisms because I put them in my own wording. So what you're looking for, you're looking for support levels and resistance levels. Now, support levels and resistance levels, what are they? Those are levels at which, okay, so a resistance is the level at which a stock tends to stop going up, and a support level is the level at which a stock stops going down, okay? Think of it as like a floor and a ceiling, right? The floor supports you and the ceiling provides resistance if you were to jump up and, hit your head, right? So that's what you're looking for all the time. It comes down to support and resistance. That's really the core of technical analysis is support and resistance. So how do you identify that? All right, so let's go back to the chart. All right, so A's are what you would think. Okay, so let's say that your stock or your crypto or your commodity goes up, goes down, it forms an A, right? And then when it goes down and goes up, it forms a V. All right. So what I'm looking for A's and I'm looking for V's. And there's one more thing to help you determine support and resistance, and that's a channel. So channels is a sideways move in the chart. Okay. Now, forgive me here. I tried to narrow those two lines here to demonstrate the channel there, but you get the idea, right? You can see that in this example, and this is a chart, by the way, of Jesus Coin. This is the 1-year chart, and you'll see that it spent the summer there going sideways. Okay, now the rule on channels is that the longer the channel and the narrower the channel, the bigger the move that it will have when it finally breaks out of the channel. So ironically, when you're looking at channels, you don't want them to break right away. You want them to go on for as long as possible. So that's the idea with channels in general. Now, not all channels are created equally. Let's go back. Okay, so you can see that the channel that was put in last summer was a very tight and long channel. Okay, so that's one kind of a channel here. And I did lean into the stock quite a bit when it broke out of this channel. Now, this is kind of a scaled out version of this chart, so you can't really see it really well in this version of the chart. But it had a really nice breakout of that channel there. And that's when I leaned into Jesus Coin very heavily. And I still have the vast majority of those coins. Because remember, the longer the channel, the more sustainable the move will be after the channel breaks. And sure enough, it broke and then it entered into another channel. So let me blow this up right here and let's take a close look at what I mean about this next channel. All right, so here's a blown up version. You can see back in the far left there, after it broke out of the channel during the summer, and I bought heavily into that channel. And again, forgive me, I know it's kind of distorted because I had to blow things up, right, to make my point. But this other channel here was also a very long channel. This went on for, I think, like 5 weeks. So again, a very long channel. Now, you can see in this channel, you see a bunch of A's and B's, right? A, B, A, V, A, V, A, V, right? And so you can see a bunch of A's and B's. So what I do there is I look at the A's and I look at the V's and I draw a line up along the top of the A's, a line at the bottom of the V's, and you can see the channel. Now, over the course of time, you're going to develop an eye for this stuff. Like I promise you, it will happen. If you do this long enough, you will develop an eye for, that's a channel. Even without having to draw lines, you'll just be able to see it. And some channels are nice and tight, and some are kind of sloppy. And this version, the channel is what I would call a sloppy channel, but it is a channel. So you can see a very well-defined support level and resistance level. So when it broke resistance, that's when I leaned into Jesus Coin even more. Okay. All right, and then it ran up, put in another A and created another resistance level. So the idea is you're always looking for resistance levels and support levels, and some of them are more significant than others. And there are varying degrees in the quality of A's and B's. And again, over the course of time, you're going to get a sense for what is a gee whiz version of a support level and what is an okay level of a support level. Okay. And again, that'll come with some experience. And stick with me, because chances are along the way, I'm going to be giving you my opinion on, all right, well, that's an okay channel, and that's not a channel at all. Okay. So please, I hope you join my channel for that reason as well. Now, for a lot of you guys who are already experienced traders, the things I'm going to be showing people, you're going to already know, but it might be help, but it might be useful for you as well, just to kind of, remind yourself and have a little refresher course. Okay, so enough of that little lesson. So now let's start getting into this current test that I talked about in my thumbnail. Okay, so we had one test recently regarding the burn date, right? And go back to my YouTube channel. You can watch my video on the burn details. Okay, now when the burn happened, there was a real big question. Well, is it gonna rally? Is it gonna go sideways? Is it gonna sell off? And I was secretly hoping for a sell off, and I'll tell you why. I wanted to wash out the weak hands. That's what I wanted them to do. Now you always judge the health of a stock, a crypto, a meme coin, whatever, by the quality of their pullbacks. How long do they last? How steep are they? How violent are they? But the most important aspect is how quickly does it recover? Does it go down and just go sideways, which means it's probably going to go down more, or does it recover quickly? So, not all sell-offs are created equally. You have to kind of judge the quality of the sell-off, okay? And that's why you need a little bit of time for it to kind of, reveal itself, right? So the next test after the burn was the new year. And this is why. Okay, so this is my concern about the new year. Okay, so since Jesus Coin did have a little bit of a sell-off there after the burn news on Christmas Day, my worry was, okay, well, tax loss selling. All right, so if we have whales out there with large positions that they have big profits on, or maybe they have losses on, they might be tempted to sell their shares for tax purposes, and then with the intention of buying those coins back, probably after the sell-off. But for tax purposes, they wanted to record, that trade. So I was watching this coin very carefully on, New Year's Day. Well, the day before, New Year's Eve. Right? I was watching there, and sure enough, this is what happened. So you go back, see this big stick down here, and then another big stick there. So it started with one gentleman who sold $100,000 worth of the coin, and then a couple other big guys followed right after. But it happened real quickly. Now these are 15-minute candles, right? So so this happened in the course of a half hour. And you don't really see it here, but there's a tail here. It got down to as low as like 13 and a half, I think, was the low during that little sell-off. And these big sticks down happened literally 3 hours before midnight. So sure enough, and so this is where I was wondering, okay, is this going to turn into something? But you can see that it stopped pretty quickly, and ever since then, it started to recover. Okay, so it took like 2 days for this coin to recover that big sell-off. This is why I had a 4-day window that I was worried about. The 2 days before New Year's and the 2 days after New Year's. I was worried that there'd be a sell-off for tax purposes going into the new year. Then after the new Year's, I wanted to give it a couple of days to see whether it recovered if it had a sell-off. Right? I wanted to see how well it recovered. Did it actually recover from that sell-off, or did it sell off more? Did it create a cascading effect downward? That is the test that I am talking about. And it did pass the test. Okay, so let's remind ourselves. So this big sell-off here, this is we'll call it the New Year massacre. Okay, that big dramatic move down. And so okay, so it happened, and now I wanted to wait to see. I wanted to wait at least 2 days to see what happened after this. Was this going to be the beginning of a big cascading move down, or are the buyers going to come in? And you can see that it did recover. So at the beginning of the massacre, going into the massacre, it was trading at 20 and a half. Then it had the sell-off, and let's see how long it took for it to recover. There it is, right there. Okay, it did recover. So 2 days ago when I had the big pop up, okay, I was relieved. Okay, good. There you go. The sellers have been washed out. Everyone who wanted to sell has already sold it. And it got up to, not only did it get up to 20 and a half, it got up to 21 and a half. Okay. Okay. And we were on the march. But then let's talk about this event right here. Okay. So this sell-off right here, let's talk about what was going on there. Now, yesterday, I did a video on this little sell-off, the phenomenon about it. So let me refresh your memory here. So yesterday, today is the 4th. So yesterday, when people woke up, they saw that all cryptos were down because of news out of Bitcoin. And there's a big scare there about the SEC not approving the ETF, the BTC ETF after all. So the whole market, was sold off. The entire crypto space sold off. And Jesus Coin went right along with it. So Jesus Coin, in my very strong opinion, had this last sell-off, not for anything to do with Jesus Coin. It was a sympathy move down related to the Bitcoin news. But again, just like always, you want to judge, what happens after the sell-off. Does it turn into something big, or does it stop short and then recover? And sure enough, once again, Jesus Coin did recover. I mean, at the moment that I'm talking to you here, it is at 1849. Okay, so although I am satisfied with not just one new test being passed, but really two. We had the New Year massacre that we recovered from, and now we're kind of halfway recovered from the Bitcoin ETF news. Okay, that's still kind of a wet blanket over the market, by the way. The market really hasn't popped back up from that yet as I'm making this video. I think it's going to, though. So we are still not out of the woods yet, okay? So there are some levels that that we want Jesus Coin to take out for us to feel a whole lot better. So mission 1 is accomplished, okay? We survived New Year's. And we survived another mission, the Bitcoin event. So now let's talk about the levels that you want to be cheering for. Okay, so the immediate level that you want Jesus Coin to take out is 22. Okay, now you don't want it just to hit 22. You want it to get above 22 and stay there for a little bit, at least for like a half a day, right? If it gets to 22, don't pop the champagne corks right away because anything can get there. It can pop up there for briefly and then pull back. We need to get it above 22, even if it's just by a couple cents. We just need to get above 22 and stay there for a little while, and that'll create some FOMO. The next level beyond that is this level up here at 30. Now, right now, we're looking at the 1 week chart, right? So 30 is not really that far away. I mean, it looks like a big traverse, but it's not really that big of a move. But that's the next important level. So if you can get above 22, I think you can feel a little bit of relief. The real relief, I think, will be when it gets above 30. So these are the two short-term numbers that you are cheering for. Now let's take a look at the 1 month chart. Okay, so once we get through that 30 level, the big overhanging resistance is 55. Now 55 does represent an all-time high for Jesus Coin. Okay, so my assumption is that if or when Jesus Coin does get up to 55 again, it's probably going to pause a little bit. So don't be surprised if it gets close to the sky and then bounces around a little bit before it pops through. Because not only is this a short-term important technical level, it is an all-time high. So it might just blow right through it like a hot knife through butter. Okay, and just for the fun of it, let's take a look at the 1 year chart, the all-time history of Jesus Coin. Okay, so this is the 1 year chart. Now, Jesus Coin launched last April, so it's not really a whole year. It's about 8.5, 9 months. Something. All right, so where it sits right now at 6 zeros 18 versus 6 zeros 50. That looks like a really big project, but really it's not. Let's see, 18, 32, 4, so it's like a 2.5x from here. Okay, so in addition to the technicals, you do want to be mindful of some fundamental things that are coming up with Jesus Coin. Now, the next big potential catalyst for Jesus Coin is a listing on a major exchange. And the word is that they either have 1 or 2 lined up, maybe even a tier 1 exchange, in the mix. I mean, that's the word on the street inside of the community. But listen, until something is officially announced, we just won't know. But if that were to happen, my expectation would be this thing is going to go nuts to the upside. But another consideration is that even without a particular catalyst, this coin is gaining, holders at a pretty fast clip. When I first got into Jesus Coin last May, I think there were like 3,000 holders. Now we're over 14,000 holders. And that number is growing kind of exponentially. It's looking like a hockey stick. Okay, it's going up quickly. So the word is kind of getting out. Now, because meme coins like Jesus Coin can take on a life of their own for any number of reasons, all of which you won't see coming. They'll just happen, because of that, you do not want to find yourself in a position of chasing this coin. Now, if you're someone like me who thinks that this coin has the potential of moving 1,000x, hell, let's be conservative. Let's call it 100x. All right. Then this thing has a lot of room to run. So even if this coin were to take out the recent high there of 55, it has a lot further to go. Now, always remember that Jesus coin is a meme coin, which means it has no intrinsic value, so it does involve plenty of risk. So anything that you might put into Jesus coin should be money that you can absolutely afford to lose. All right, it should not affect your lifestyle if it all evaporates. All right, because anything could happen in this world. Okay, so at the moment, those are the important levels that I'm looking at. I'm looking at 20, 30, and 55. And I want to make one more comment. This is addressed to people who are really getting upset that Jesus coin is not moving as fast as they think it should, or whatever. They're when you find yourself being really upset over that's a telltale sign of your emotions that driving your decision making. If you found that the sell-off that has had since the burn date is really turning your life upside down, okay, then your risk tolerance isn't what you thought it was. Okay, so you either should not be in this coin, or you should reduce your exposure to the coin, or whatever. I mean, all the time I hear people say, yeah, I want to make a lot of money, I want to do it really fast, and I don't want to take any risk. Well, listen, come on, you have to be realistic. You got to give things a chance. If you want to get that 100x or 1,000x move on a coin, you have to be willing to put in the work, and the work is primarily emotional work. And for most of you, you're better off not watching this guy on a minute-to-minute basis. Don't do that, because it'll drive yourself nuts. If you think it's going to go to 100x or 1,000x, then just hodl it and let it do its thing. And maybe check in on it once in a while for curiosity purposes. But trading is an emotional endeavor. Okay, well, that's the big challenge, right? That's the primary reason why most people fail in the markets. Well, two reasons, right? They don't have basic education, and they don't have any control on their emotions. And as I've always said, the single best thing you can do is to come up with your plan. What is your plan? Maybe your plan is, all right, I'll put $1,000 into it. I can afford to risk, $1,000, and I'm just going to sit on it until it moves 100x, until it turns into $100,000. Maybe that's your plan. Okay, so write it down. Maybe your plan is, okay, I'm going to put $10,000 in, and when it goes up 1x, I'm going to withdraw my original 10,000 and I'll let the rest run. Maybe so. That's your plan. Whatever your plan is. And only you can decide what makes sense to you. You got to put a little bit of thought into it. If you have a plan written down, you're less likely to make bad decisions, and you're less likely to be shaken out by the people who know what they're doing. And if you're putting $20,000 or $30,000 into this guy at a clip, and you're sitting around for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and you to make a quick $50 or $100, and yeah, believe it or not, there are several guys doing that. They've done like $15 million worth of transactions in the past month, but all in $20,000 increments. If that's your game, just go over to Bitcoin. You can get the same kind of. You can pull $100 out of Bitcoin, on something that's much meatier. But who am I to judge? If it's working for you, it's a free country. I wish you all the success. I want everyone to make a ton of money. So let me tie this up in a bow for you. Okay, so Jesus coin has still a little bit more work to do. Okay, but for my purposes, I'm satisfied that several recent tests have been passed with pretty flying colors. So I would give it a solid A- or A as far as its performance in light of events. So I am very happy with the performance of this guy. Again, we have a little bit more work to do, but I got my numbers drawn, right? I've got, so the levels I'm watching again are 22, 30, and 55. In the comment section below, I'd like to hear from you guys about what you think. Do you think everything I just said here is nonsense? Does it make sense to you? Am I giving you any kind of value for your time? I do have a Twitter account now, so you can follow me on Twitter. And if you'd like to join the Hey Ed WhatsApp group, doesn't cost you anything. Just shoot me an email, and I'll send you a link to the WhatsApp group. But they're a fantastic group of people. You will enjoy the group, I promise you. Okay, so like, share, and subscribe. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.